Hello and welcome to Thursday's Facebook Live, Thursday, October 25th. I am Katie Collins, your host for the Wealthy Holistic Solopreneur Sisters group. Thanks for being here. I'm going to just give a minute and see if some people hop on before I get started. I'm sorry if I keep clearing my throat and drinking water today, but I've just been dealing with a cold all week long, so if I sound nasally, that's why. But I'm excited to chat with you today about how and what to invest in for your business. So I think a lot of people get scared or hold on to money really tight, and they say they don't have any money, but we actually do. And we just resist spending more money, because sometimes, I think you get to a point where you say, at some point, I need to actually make some money, right? So today what I'm going to talk to you about is when to decide what to invest in and how much you're willing to spend based on what result you would like from what you're investing in. And we're going to talk about, small ticket items like subscriptions, to bigger ticket items like coaching. So, all right, well, let me just make sure we are live in this group. I just like to look on my computer as well so I can see that it's working. So, oh, there I am. Okay, it's working. Okay, so, all right, so yeah, we're talking about investing in your business because if you're not investing in your own growth, you're going to be hard pressed to get someone to invest in you, in your service, right? So let me just see if I can tilt that a little bit so that I can sit back and relax here in my queen chair is what I like to call it. Yeah, so obviously if you're not investing, then there's a lack of alignment for what you're putting out into the universe. Like, I want people to invest in me, but I'm not going to invest in myself, right? So we've got to invest in certain ways. And there have been times where I've invested huge, and there have been times where I've taken a step back and said, I'm not investing another single dollar until, XYZ happens. And every time I've said that, it kind of bit me in the butt later on. Like, I just realized that mentality was holding me back. So I am careful with what I invest in, but I'll never, ever stop investing in my business again, because the only time that I get great growth is when I invest in a product or a service or a coach or something to move me forward. All right, so for those of you who are just getting acquainted with me, I'm Katie Collins, and I help coaches and wellness practitioners overcome your fear of sales so you can get fully booked with clients and have that cash flow so you can really just finally take that vacation that you're blowing off until you've got enough money or enough time, or paying off the credit card debt. Either way, it just feels so damn good to have enough income so that you move from surviving into actually thriving. And you get that time and money freedom that we all pictured when we first got started. So that's what I love helping people do. So I'm curious, whether you're here live or watching from home later on, I just wonder how many of you have been struggling to truly invest in your business at the level that you desire, right? So I wonder how many of you really want to invest in something, but you haven't yet pulled the trigger simply because you just don't really have the extra cash, or because you are unwilling to invest again until you show a profit first, right? So as I mentioned earlier in the live today, I have definitely done that where I'm just like, not another penny until, something happens. And I think that mindset keeps you stuck. So I don't recommend that. And I'll talk a little bit about my journey here. So I just want to say, I just understand how you feel when it comes to that kind of tight grip on money, right? And it feels like you're in this catch-22. You need money to spend money, right? But in order to make money, you've got to invest in some products or services. And so it's easy to feel like you got to have that tight grip on the funds that you do have, because we all know that it's smart to save money for a rainy day. And so, I felt that way before. I've talked about this a lot this week, both inside this group and then outside just while networking, because it's been on my mind, and then of course emailing as well in my newsletters. And every time I talk about it, I come up with another story of yet another time where I kept making that same mistake. And the mistake is this: making decisions based on a price of what I think I can afford. And that is the only way I made decisions. So let's be clear. Of course, you have to consider money when you're making a decision. But what I'm saying is that that was the only decision-making factor, and that's the mistake. So, I really changed this only when I found the courage to actually find the money when I needed it, right? I found the courage to invest in what I truly believed in, that would help me grow month after month. And I really found the courage to believe in myself once again, because I have made a few buying mistakes. And I've invested huge. In fact, I invested $25,000 into the wrong company when I first got started in coaching. So can you imagine starting your career off by investing that much cash up front and realizing, oh, these aren't my people, and this was not the company I should have invested in, right? Now, if I had stopped there and said, I'm not going to invest one more penny, then I would never have found the community that did become my home for 5 years, which not only gave me the income that allowed me to double my teacher income, but gave me family and friends that will last a lifetime. So I know what it's like to have fear based on past decisions that may have hurt you. And I'm telling you that when I found the courage to trust myself again and to even make that first decision right, even though it wasn't the right decision for what I wanted it to be, it got me on the trajectory of where I am today. So I'm so grateful I made that mistake, even though it was a very expensive one. And so maybe, you've tried choosing free services to get the job done, right? Or maybe you've hired based solely on price like I was doing, and it's just not working and you're not getting the results that you seek. And maybe you've sat there wondering, if you'll ever have the kind of capital that you need to really play in the land of Facebook ads, or to hire the right amount of support that that you really need. To get your business operating at a level that feels successful to you. And so if any of this sounds familiar, I want to let you know that this training is the right place for you to be, and I'm glad you're here. Because I definitely don't want you to make the same mistake that I was making when building my business with limited capital, and that was choosing products and services that were less expensive, because 9 times out of 10, they were also subpar. And in order to make up for the mistake that I made, it took me more energy to make up for that mistake. Does that make sense? Okay. So at the end of this training, I'm going to make you a couple of offers, a couple of recommendations for how you can get started right away. One of them is just to sign up for my free ebook, How to Get Good at Selling Your Service Without Feeling Comfortable. The reason why I think this ebook is really good for you for this particular topic is part of what I talk about is your way of being when it comes to enrollment conversations. And the way you invest and the way you think about what to invest in all contributes to your way of being. And so you're going to learn about that, and also how to talk about what you do, how to share your personal journey, and really how to navigate the actual enrollment conversation in that ebook. So it is called How to Get Good at Selling Your Service Without Feeling Uncomfortable, and I'll tell you how to get your hands on that at the end of this. And my intention is for you to walk away saying, I love sales, because that's what I say, and I didn't start off that way, right? So it's something that you can learn, and I'm excited to teach you. All right, so before we get started, I thought it would be good to just tell you, who I am and why you should listen to me when it comes to investing in your business. So for a few years, I served as an event sales manager for this large business coaching company in California. And so we would have what we would call summits. And so it's your typical model of a 3-day event that's for low cost or scholarship, where people come for 3 days and they get value, and then the presenter makes an offer from stage to continue working together. And so I was the sales manager for that team, and we would be in the back of the room, and that's where, I have mentioned before that I've been behind a team that sold $4 million in coaching packages while I worked for them. And so what I saw time and time again with some of our participants was a lack of self-confidence and a resistance to spending more money because they had signed up for programs previously that promised them big success and they didn't get it. And so there's a little uneasy feeling of, well, what makes you different? I signed up for XYZ company, in the same area as you. I've already spent $12,000 to $15,000. And here I am, at this other training because I still don't know what the heck I'm doing. And so, either the program itself wasn't very good, and sometimes that's true, right? Unfortunately. Or they had resistance while in the program and they didn't actually do the work. They didn't take the action. And so they didn't get the results. And it's very frustrating. Like I told you, I spent $25,000 and I didn't get results either. So super frustrating and really hard for people to invest again once they've been burnt like that. So I was seeing that a lot. And with that came the frustration that they weren't successful and fear that they never would be. And so the reason it bothered me so much was it felt like this vicious cycle. And it just broke my heart to see their talent potentially go to waste because they just didn't have the confidence to invest in themselves again. And they no longer trusted their judgment, and they could stand behind the "I can't afford it" excuse, so that it allowed them to stay stuck right where they are. So don't get offended by the word excuse, because we all use excuses every single day to get out of what we don't feel like doing, right? And a lot of times we use the "I can't afford it" idea so that we can stay safe right where we are in our comfort zone of actually not being successful. Even though it's not what we want, it's a safe place to stay, okay? So it is an excuse, because in reality, when we want something bad enough, we go find the money, right? So how many of you had enough money in your bank account to go to college? I'm wondering, anyone? Now, if you did, I bet your parents had been saving for a long time, and if so, God bless you. That's amazing. I didn't have that luxury. I did not have any savings for college. And so when I signed up to go to college, I got loans, I got scholarships, I got grants, my mother got loans, right? And together we paid for my tuition. And at the end of my 4 years, I owed probably about 25% of the tuition cost over a 4-year period myself. And then my mom actually had some loans that she paid as a contribution for me. So I'm so grateful for that, right? But that's an example of a time in my life at 18 years old where I could have said, I don't have the money to go to this small liberal arts expensive college that's out of state. But I didn't, because my family taught me that sometimes you have to borrow the money in order to get the thing you want to get so that you can get the success you want to get. Right? So don't get me started on how expensive college is right now, but that's just an example. Another example is when you buy a house or a car, right? Many of us will get loans for those kinds of things. So what's the difference when it comes to your business? Why are we so resistant to getting a loan or to using credit to buy something that we really need for our business? All right. So even deeper than that, I also wanted to bring up, I noticed most of the participants that were holding themselves back were women. And I think for women, we really didn't see our mothers investing in themselves, right? We didn't witness our female role models making decisions on their own without consulting their partner or their parents, right, or their family. Because times were so different 20 or 30 years ago. So we don't have that role model. A lot of us don't have that role model who did invest in herself. And so instead, we end up playing small because we're just kind of doing what we've noticed. And, we may actually have the money, whether it's in savings or investments or real estate that we could pull from, right? But we just hold on to all of that so tightly. And what that reflects is a fear that we're never going to make any more. And so we better hold on to what we have, right? And so let me ask you this. how do you think that mindset works when you're building your business? To have a mindset of expectation that you're not going to earn more money. Yeah, that doesn't work very well, right? That energy that you put out there by holding on to the money you have and thinking, I better hold on to it because what if I don't make any more? Well, that expectation is holding you back from actually succeeding. All right, so that's the mindset shift I wanted to talk about. But before we dive into these 3 keys I want to talk about, I just want to say, if you've been making decisions based on, what to buy or not buy, only based on money, it's so not your fault. I've totally done that, like I said, until I realized more often or not, I get what I pay for. And, I remember opting in for a free online calendar system. And I knew what I wanted the online calendar system to do, but because I opted for the free thing, my options got much more limited than what it was promised to me on the webpage, right? And so then I found myself making accommodations for the fact that this thing that I just invested in at a free level wasn't serving me. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I wanted to have, 4 different appointment types, but this free service only lets me have 1. So I guess I'll just have 1. No, right? Like that was a big mistake because now I'm like making accommodations so that I can save $5, $7, $9 a month. So the day that I invested in the calendar system that actually works for me, which I'll talk to you about later today, was the day that I made the choice to invest in something that was going to save me time, and therefore I'm going to invest a little bit of money for that. Because at the end of the day, when I decided to switch calendar systems into one that worked for me, now I had to learn that new system again. So I had to learn the first system, and that took, I don't know, maybe an hour. And then I transferred to a new system, and that took another hour, right? So I just doubled my wasted time by trying to save money, and instead I wasted a bunch of time in the process. So the good news is knowing that what I'm going to share with you is going to set you up to course correct and shift really quickly so that you're no longer trying to save money by wasting time, right? So we're going to help you make choices that serve you instead of keep you stuck based on money. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is what you actually should invest in. So this is a very personal choice, and so I'm trying to keep things super general. And I just want to talk about 3 things that I think are a must. 3 or maybe 4 things I've got here. All right, so the first thing, I cannot believe I'm admitting this, but I used to take client notes by hand. I would have scrap paper and I would have a pencil and I would write down like their notes, and I liked it because I could kind of draw boxes around things and doodle and highlight and, just draw attention to things. And then after, I would spend about 15 minutes typing those notes so that they could be uploaded into our customer relationship management system. So we call them a CRM. Multiply that by 50 clients, which is how many I truly had at the time. That's 12 and a half hours per month that I was spending on a task that wasn't generating any additional income, right? I already served the client and the session was done. 15 minutes times 50 people, 12 and a half hours extra a month unpaid to type. Okay, so solution, Google Docs. So you may see when you have a Gmail account, you have access to Google Docs and you only have access to a certain amount of space. So I stopped worrying about space issues and I just invested $1.99 a month. That's right, $2 a month so that I have as much storage as I think I need for now. I'm only using 20% of it, so far so good. And what I do is do a Google folder for each client name, and then I open up a Google Doc and take notes. This eliminates emailing back and forth between clients as well, because I give them access to the folder, and then when they want to upload something for feedback, they upload it into the folder and tag me. You just do the @ sign and then type the person's name, and the person gets an email. So it's like, hey, Katie Collins, I did this thing, will you take a look? And I get the email and I can go in and take a look. So it has saved me enormous amount of time and literally cost me $2 a month to invest in this customer relationship management system that I created because I wasn't yet ready to invest in something that was over $100 a month, which is what some of these other systems were costing, like Infusionsoft or Ontraport. where you can keep client notes. I just wasn't ready for that yet. And so this was my solution for that. Okay, so $2 a month, not too bad. So next I want you to think about how much time you have wasted emailing back and forth with people. Are you free on Friday? No, I'm free on Monday. How about you? Oh, can't do Monday. How about Wednesday or Thursday? I can do Thursday. What time, right? I can't stand that. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. So my solution was, first I had to make two choices. One, stop using a paper calendar. So now we're in 2018. I bet the majority of viewers, I made that mistake last time. I bet the majority of the viewers here are using an online calendar, okay? But there are some people, especially from the baby boomer generation, that really like their paper calendar. So I was one of those people. I just was a no-nonsense person. I loved my little paper calendar. So I got rid of that and went to Google Calendar. But you cannot schedule appointments that way, right? So in order to get a link for someone to view my calendar and my availability, I needed to sign up for a scheduling system. So that is Acuity that I decided to use. I'm so sorry, I can't remember what I pay per month for Acuity. I want to say it might be like $15 or something. So I'm going to add a link in here. It's my affiliate link for all fairness here. But that, if you want to check out Acuity, I just absolutely love how easy it is to use, how I've been able to create different segments. Like I work for a couple different business coaching companies, and so I'm able to create categories for each one of those companies and then types of appointments within that. Not to mention my own, Katie Collins Coaching, not to mention my Denver Femme Talks, lots of different categories. And then for each appointment type, I can have a different email sequence going out, reminding people and giving them directions for how to meet me. Took a little bit to set up, but once it's done, it's done. And it works like a charm. So I really, really think if you want to have an online business or work with people in any online fashion, you have to have an online calendar system. I just could not tell you more about that. And then for people that think, oh my gosh, then my calendar is wide open, you just have to get really good at creating boundaries and also adding drive time in your Google Calendar. That's the only problem I've come up with so far, has been if I have a networking meeting that ends at 1 o'clock, that it looks like I'm available from 1 o'clock on, when in fact I need to drive home. So I've been remembering to block time for drive time. So other than that, I have had no problems with double booking or anything like that. So I just love it. Okay. Okay, the last switch that I made may not have saved me time, but it helped my client experience be a gazillion times better. And I really mean it, a gazillion times. So back in the day when I first got started, I didn't want to give my personal phone number out. And so I was using a conference line. And so we would each call into this like 1-800 number, or I don't even think it was 1-800 number, but some sort of number. I think they were based in Chicago. It was like freeconferencing.com or something. And so it was a free service, and we could call in together and then chat on the phone, and we could record it. And that was a nice feature. But I really wasn't getting, I wasn't feeling connected to people. And so what I decided to get instead was Zoom. So download at zoom.us. I actually have a link for that. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to put it in the chat. Also my affiliate link for Zoom. You certainly don't have to use it, but if you do, yay. What I love about Zoom, and if you're not using it, I just say, oh my gosh, get on board. You can screen share, you can record. There's a whiteboard that you could either type or write with a marker, tool, right there. You can also do breakout rooms. So if you've got a group call, you can break people into partners, send them into a different room to do their thing. You can send a broadcast to all of those different rooms, letting them know how much time they've got left, and then you bring them back to the regular room. It's just an outstanding video tool. I think it's so good to get more comfortable on video. If you know my story, you know I'm kind of shy about video, and I get shy about my eyesight, and I have a blind eye and it wanders, and I just, it's like the proverbial pimple that you notice on your videos. And so Zoom really got me more comfortable seeing myself and not fixing my bangs every 5 seconds. Now I probably do it every couple of minutes instead. But it is just an awesome tool. And I remember when I first tried to get my clients to switch, and they were a little resistant. And then I said, let's give it a try for a couple of times. And if you don't like it, I'm happy to go back to what we've been doing. And 100% of them were like, oh my God, this is awesome. It's so much more fun to see you and really connect. So anyway, if you're not using Zoom, go for it. The cost is about $10 or $15 a month. I think I paid $10, but I think it might have gone up to $15 per month at this point, but worth every penny. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say is bookkeeping. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm a very organized person, right? So I'm going to show you my old bookkeeping system here. Okay, I have an accordion file folder, January through December, right? It even says right here, 2018 tax receipts. So I used to keep all my paper receipts, and I'd file them, when I took them out of my wallet. And then at the end of the year, not even month, I should have done it monthly, but I didn't. At the end of the year, I used to print my bank statements and match my receipts to my statements, staple them together, and then I would mark on the statement, this is travel, this is office supplies, whatever. And then on the statements, I'd, categorize them and add up how much I spent each month on each thing. Then I would go into my spreadsheet and enter. Okay, so I know how to do that, right? I grew up with a bookkeeper. My mom is a bookkeeper. Just because I know how to do that and I am organized does not make that a good idea. And I did that up until last year. And I just thought to myself, I don't have a ton of business expenses that I can't do this manually, and it wasn't worth the investment for me. But I will tell you, I signed up for QuickBooks Online last year. They raised it from $15 to $20 in the year that I've been with them, which is super frustrating. But for $20 a month, I gotta say, now that my bank accounts are connected, I can just go in, and if they don't recognize the vendor, then I add who the vendor is and what category, and then it remembers it from next time. And so it gets easier and easier month after month. And then my accountant, who I've always hired, if you don't have an accountant to do your taxes, I highly recommend it, because they're the ones that know how to save you money, right? So let's hire someone for, $75 to $150 to do your taxes so that they could possibly save you literally thousands of dollars. So that is a no-brainer. But now I'm learning, okay, now I do QuickBooks Online. I essentially am paying $20 a month to have an online bookkeeper called QuickBooks Online so that I don't have to do paper receipts anymore. And it's just lovely, lovely, lovely. So I think that's a really important one to do, because when I think about the time I'm saving by not doing the strategy that I just described to you, I'm saving several hours a year. And in order to save several hours a year, I'm paying $20 a month. So worth it, because I charge a lot more than $20 for an hour of my time, right? So that's the mindset you got to have, is how much time am I saving by making this investment? So I'm sharing the mistakes I made with you. I'm sharing my mistakes with you so that if you're making the same mistakes, maybe I'm going to help you change your mind. Because time is just of the most essence. You cannot get more time. That's the one currency that's equal across humankind, right? We only get 24 hours in a day. And so I really want to help you keep your time and spend a little bit of money to make your time more valuable. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how much to spend. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, this Facebook Live's going longer, but it's okay. I think it's worth it. You may be asking, how much am I willing to spend on certain things? So in order to know that, we got to start with a mindset shift so that you can trust yourself when you're making an investment. So the mindset is, will this purchase help me move my business forward? Will it ultimately save me time, stop me spinning wheels, etc.? If the answer is yes, find the money. And that's what we're going to talk about for key number 3. So if that's your question, hold it. And for this one, with thinking about how much to spend, you want to start with the end game in mind. So you want to ask, what do you want as a result of this potential investment? And then find the perfect person or product to help you do that. So let me give you a quick example about that, because I think this one's really powerful. I knew I was about to invest pretty big in my own business. I just quit a pretty big contract, and I'm ready to promote myself bigger and better than ever before, and really spread my wings further than I ever have before. And so I wanted to invest in some big time support for that. And I was at an event with one of my mentors whom I love dearly, and she made an offer for her year-long group program. And that was red flag number one for me. I didn't want a group program. I've already done the group thing, and I knew I wanted one-on-one support. But I still had the FOMO when other people were signing up for her $18,000 year-long program. I was like, oh, I'm missing out, and I kind of want to be with all these people for the next year, So I went and chatted with her after, and told her, I really want one-on-one support. What do you have, that we could do together? And she didn't have it. So, sorry about my dog. Annie, come here. She's keeping me safe. And so she really didn't have what I wanted to invest in. So what I'm sharing about that is, even though I really liked the program and I loved the mentor and I wanted to be with her, I didn't want to invest $18,000 unless it was the exact fit for what I wanted. And I knew what I wanted was one-on-one, right? So I think too often we're at events or with mentors who make an offer and we're like, oh, I love this person, I love this event, I love this community, I'm going to say yes. But if it's not solving the problem that you want to solve, very specifically, don't say yes, because there's something else out there and you need to find the perfect fit for you. And so now I did, and I ended up investing even more than that in the perfect fit for me. But it was so important to me and it was such the right fit that I decided to find the money and make the huge investment. All right, so that's what I mean when I say find the perfect person or product that's going to help you get to the end game that you have in mind when making this consideration. Okay, so when comparing prices, how much is the actual savings? All right, so quick and silly story. When Pandora first started doing subscription service, I think it was $1.99 a month. And I was in this, I'm holding on to my money so tight, I'm not going to spend one more dollar. And so I was not going to, pay $1.99 a month for some stupid radio subscription, whatever, I'll listen to commercials. And so now I think it's like 4 times that a month. But, I think back and I go, oh boy, I'm really glad I saved $24 a freaking year because I was so stubborn. And now I have to listen to all these stupid, political posts and stuff as a result. So that's kind of an example of just being like, really, how much money are you really saving in terms of this decision? So when you think about what you're saving, you also want to consider the extra energy that it may take for you to do the cheaper option. In my email, I talked about a $500 website I got. When I hire someone to do a website, I'm looking for guidance because that's not my thing. I don't really know, right? But this person, it wasn't her main gig. She was doing me a favor. So she didn't have the resources and support that I really needed. So it took me way more energy on my end to give her the copy and the images and choosing colors and all of that than if I just spent more money to start with, but to get the actual support I needed for all of those things, right? So I spent all of the energy on my side to do a $500 website to see the result and say, oh no, this isn't what I want. And then to let that go, so I might as well have flushed $500 down the toilet. Now I found someone to do me a $5,000 website, but she gave me the support that I need as well. So many templates and resources and all of that. So you just want to think about, you may be spending money, but how much extra energy and time are you going to put forth? And is it going to be the result that you want? Because what I wanted was an amazing website. But at the time, I didn't know. At the $500 time, what I wanted was a good enough website. And I realized that desire wasn't what I really wanted. It was a money-based desire, right? Okay, so let me just give a couple of examples where, yes, it's worth it, or no, it's not. All right, so let me just look at my notes quickly here. Okay, so the question, is it worth saving the money? yes, it's worth saving the money and not investing in Infusionsoft or Ontraport or any of these bigger, Kajabi, ClickFunnels, all that. If you're not ready for that big support yet, don't invest in it. I do not want to see you spending $100 a month on a subscription that you're not going to use to the fullest capacity that it has. Okay? In that instance, I think it makes so much more sense to sign up for like ActiveCampaign. That's what I do for my email marketing. I think I spend $17 a month for ActiveCampaign. Much better than $100 a month. It does everything I want it to do, except hold client notes, right? So it's the one thing it's missing. And like I said, I solved that problem with Google Drive, so I don't care. All right, so in that case, it is worth saving money, okay? No, it's not worth saving money when it comes to calendar systems, because we're talking $5 a month. So if you're not getting everything you want out of a calendar system simply to save $5 a month, bad choice. Spend the extra $5 a month, get the calendar option that makes the most sense for you and your business, and make sure it's working for you instead of you working and making accommodations for it. All right, and then my last one, this is huge, you guys. I learned this the hard way. No, it is not worth saving the money by buying a program or a coaching service that only solves one problem. This is huge, okay? So, because inherent in every solution is a new problem, and that's where they get you. And so you buy their $3,000 program that teaches you this one thing, and then you get to the next part and you go, oh, well, now I need help with blah, blah, blah. Well, that's their point. And they want to upgrade you, which is fine, right? If you want to go at that slow pace. But if you're at a point where you're like, let's just get it all done together with one human being who knows my business inside and out and can help me get all of these pieces together, with exception, it's not like a business coach can help you build a website. But who has her eyes on your business for this entire thing instead of just one solution? That's what I really recommend. So what I ended up doing was I hired a coach here in Denver, local person, went to his workshop. It was a good workshop. I thought he was pretty good. I heard good things about him, and he charged, a ridiculously low rate for coaching. If I were to be his coach, raising his rates would be the first thing I would do. But at the time I was like, oh, great, I can get, this cheaper coaching and then, yay. But I got what I paid for, and I felt under-supported by him immediately in the first month. He let me down 3 different times, didn't respond to my emails, wasn't giving me feedback in a quick enough time, and then let me down in a huge way, went back on his word, waited too long to give me the news of that, and it kind of screwed up a workshop that I was hosting that he was going to help support and promote. And I just, the gut feeling was, hell no, I am not going to work with this person for 6 months. Now I know why his prices are so low, because he's not providing the type and level of support that I was looking for. So great that it works for other people, didn't work for me. I wanted a one-on-one superstar coach. And that's what I got. So I fired him and hired someone else. I paid umpteen more dollars for this other coach. I got a loan to pay for this other coach, but she's worth every penny. If I write to her on Facebook Messenger with a question, I get a response that day within mere hours, if not mere minutes, if she's online. So you get what you pay for. And so in that instance, I say invest at a level that is going to fully support you instead of continue to frustrate you. Okay, I'll rush through this last one because it's just simply a list. The last key is, where do you find the money for what's important? Because often, it's easy to say, I don't have the income that supports that. I could have easily said that to my new coach. In fact, I did say that to my new coach during the enrollment call. I'm like, I don't know if I'm your ideal client because that is a crap load of money per month. But I hung up the phone and I asked myself this question that I teach everybody to ask on their enrollment calls. If it weren't for the money, is this something that I would want to move forward with? And my answer was a resounding yes. I loved this person. I wanted to work with her. She has what I want, right? Like, she's going to teach me exactly what I need. And she was an all-encompassing business coach, not just a one single strategy type person. And so yes was my answer. So then it was, okay, where can I find the money? So this is just a list of 30 ways that you can find money, and you can also jot down these and then provide these as an answer to your potential client's question. Okay, clear out old items, baby clothes, jewelry, clothes, bikes that you no longer use, and sell them on Craigslist, go to consignment shops, have a garage sale, right? Like offload some stuff and make some money. Make an offer to past or existing clients. Borrow it from your investments, stocks, mutual funds. Use your credit line. Most of us have a bank credit line. Use it. Ask for an increase on your credit limit for credit cards. House sit, dog sit, babysit, any way to earn some extra cash. Have a flash sale on social media. You could have a prices going up sale, right? Make an announcement to your group or your email list. You could sell your services as a done for you. So it's not something that I would recommend to build your business on, but you could do it now, right? In the interim. You could ask for referrals, of course. Offer a referral bonus for that. You can count up change that you've got laying around, sell some gift cards that you're not going to use, make adjustments to your budget, make a commitment to eat from home more than eating out. Cut out your Starbucks run, way cheaper to make coffee at home. Lower those monthly expenses and create a new budget that you can stick to. Set aside money into an account and don't touch it, right? Call that like something that reminds you of your potential future. Get rid of subscriptions and memberships that you aren't using. This one's huge. It's so easy to sign up for things like Pandora, for example, right? Now, I made fun of it earlier, the $24 a year. Well, it's more than that now anyway. But if you're not using it, let's just cancel it. You could borrow money from friends. I'm unfamiliar with this, but my coach had told me there's a way through Richard Branson. He makes it really easy, called virginmoney.com. He's created a program that helps friends and family create loans and have tracking, accountability, and make them professional and organized. He calls them social loans. So I've had a lot of clients say, they've got friends that have offered to invest in them in the past. This might be a really great way to accept that and really receive it, knowing that there's accountability attached. Okay, offer a service on Craigslist or Upwork or Fiverr. Take on a temporary part-time job. Be a part-time nanny, gardener, personal assistant, dog walker, personal shopper, right? Anything that you can come up with that you're good at. Like I said, I can do the bookkeeping stuff. I just don't necessarily want to spend my time in my business doing that. But if I were hurting for cash, then I would definitely look at being someone's personal assistant, bookkeeper, anything like that, because I'm very organized and I can go in and organize someone's office, for example, right? So yeah, just chat with people and be like, here's my genius. How about you pay me a couple $100 and I'll come in and do that. A credit card, okay? There's lots of no interest options out there or low interest. I've played the game for a long time where I've transferred balances and paid the balance transfer fee, but I saved a bunch of money on not having to pay interest for sometimes 18 to 24 months. Just gives you some deep breath moving space. Just pay $100 a month on it and let it sit there for as long as you need until you can pay that off. You can use PayPal credit. You can use your savings. Even though it's scary, you can definitely use your savings knowing that you're going to put it back. You can collect money owed to you. If there are, clients that haven't paid you, make the effort to reach back out and say, it's time to pay up. You can always host a webinar or a teleclass or some sort of challenge and make an offer. You could host a meetup or speak at someone else's event and make an offer. You can get a business loan or a personal loan. That's what I ended up doing to hire my coach. I went online. I looked at nerdwallet.com and read about the loans that were out there and the good ones and the bad ones and applied for two to get what I needed. You can apply for a home equity line of credit if you've got a home. And you can finally make a decision, right? Anything is possible when you make the decision that it's a yes and it's a non-negotiable. And when you know that it's a non-negotiable, no other option, you're going to find the money. And then just one more mindset shift about debt, because lots of people who had debt issues will say they never want to go in debt again. They got in credit card trouble and now they'll never use a credit card as long as they live. Anytime I hear people say that, I'm thinking, I don't know, like sometimes you need that to get through a couple of months. Maybe you need to get new tires or you need to get a ski pass, priorities. But sometimes you just don't have access to that cash, but they're not going to continue selling ski passes throughout the season. There's a deadline. So if you want to ski for the whole season and you don't have, here in Colorado, $750, if you don't have that cash in your account, then I would say charge it and then you can pay it off. You can host a sale and set the intention to make that $750 real fast and pay it off, right? I'm not saying that you should carry this balance over and over and over and over again. Try to pay it off for sure, but people think nothing of racking up student loan debt, and here they are paying these outrageous fees for that, right? So credit cards are less than student loans right now, and yet we're like, oh, I'm going to spend $120,000, but I'm not going to, take out a credit card and spend this on this program, for $3,000 or whatever. So just asking yourself, what's it worth? And consider that it's an investment rather than a debt. And in order to fund your dreams, sometimes you need to make a big investment. So don't be afraid of it. And don't base it on your current cash flow, because that is your current cash that's in your account is based on your history, right? When you make an investment, it is going towards your future. If you trust yourself to know that you're going to follow the advice of whatever program or service that you're getting, that it's going to bring you in the income, trust yourself and make that investment knowing that you're going to get the ROI so quickly as long as you take the action, right? So it's really about trusting yourself. Okay, so that is my list of 30 things that you could do to find the money and that you could recommend others to find the money. And obviously I went way over time, so hopefully you're finding this valuable. Before I go, I want to give you a couple of resources to help you get into action. As I mentioned earlier, I've got an ebook. If you'd like to grab a free copy of that, just go to CoachKatieCollins.com and enter your name and email. It's how to get good at selling your service without feeling uncomfortable so that you can finally get fully booked with clients and have cash to take that dream vacation or pay off that credit card debt or investment that you made. Either way, it just feels so good to finally get the time and money freedom that we all so want and deserve as an entrepreneur. So just go to my website, CoachKatieCollins.com, enter your name and email, and you can get that ebook. And it follows up with a really valuable 7-email sequence after that that goes over all the roots of of your business that you need to create. All right. If you'd like to grab one of my consultations, I'm calling it the I'm Ready to Invest in Support strategy session. Comment below or send me a private message. I've only got room for 3 for the next week, so let me know as soon as possible if you want one of those. But what we're going to do during that time is talk about what's holding you back from making an investment in your business, and where you want to be instead. And if I think I can help you get there, I'm going to let you know what my programs would look like. And if I think that I've got just a great resource for you, then I'll let you know about that as well. So either way, I would love to see you invest in something and just find the courage to invest in your next step so that you're in action, taking steps to get the result that you want to be getting. So the only thing I ask is for you to qualify for this free time with me is that you are actually a coach, a wellness practitioner, or any other service-based provider. And that, you've already earned some money in your practice, and you're really willing to invest in yourself. This isn't a free coaching thing. It's more about where do you want to put your money next? And let's talk about if that's the right next step for you or not. So I'm very experienced in this field. I've seen a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've also made some awesome decisions. So I would love to empower you to help you do the same. All right, so if you want to grab one of those, like I said, email me or you can comment below and I'll know. So thanks so much for being here. I just love having you in this community, and I love the participation that's been happening. So keep it up, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.